Hello everybody, my name is Oscar Gomez. In this occasion, I would like to share with you this qualitative research related to language input, learning environment, and motivation of a successful EFL learner. This research was conducted by three language specialists from departments of English education in institutes and universities in Indonesia. So the first thing that I would like to talk about and to mention is that this research involved only one EFL learner that had to comply with some requirements that we are going to be talking about later on, as well as explaining why this research is considered qualitative. So the first thing that I would like to say is that this is a case study involving one EFL learner, and this study involved only one learner because collaborators have limitations and inconvenience when with time in resources. However, I consider that this qualitative research still provides in-depth analysis and information that can be useful to the improvement of English language teaching processes in general. So talking a bit more about the participant, it was a participant that had a great performance and score in the TOEFL test, and this demonstrated a good performance and language skills. Besides of that, this participant demonstrated exceptional academic achievement at the university. The instrument used in this research was a semi-structured interview that was divided in four sections. First, they were going to ask about her personal information, then the availability of her English inputs, eventually the description of the learning environment, and lastly, the motivation on the learning process. Regarding the data collection, it was done through an interview, as I mentioned earlier, that was recorded attentively, and after that, this recording had to go through a process in order to analyze the information and the data. So the primary data were in the form of an audio recording, and then it was transliterated into reading data, and eventually it was done through a transcription process. So all the information was processed and coded in order to simplify it and have a better understanding of the findings. In this case, let's going to start talking about the first, what the was language input. And in this qualitative research, they could notice that some of the classroom input of this participant was intensive English class on IELTS and speaking skills. And this intensive class allowed the participant to perform well at other international tests like TOEFL. Also, she had English for specific purposes courses as a compulsory subject. Apart from the classroom input, she also had beyond classroom input because she used to watch English movies, listen to music, and read English novels. So in the first element, which is the input, the research suggested that this participant had a great input because she was not only receiving input from the classroom, but also she was doing different activities from home and other places. Moving on to the second element, that is the learning environment. The research showed that in regard of the academic environment, she received conducive learning situation of the intensive and regular classes. She was kindly supported from the academic staff of the faculty. And regarding the physical environment, she had regular practices with fellow friends in the boarding house. Lastly, talking about the motivation, she have the commitment to getting a promising job in the future, and as an extrinsic motivation, she had the desire to impress the teachers and obtain the best remarks in the English classes. So let's go into talk a bit more about the conclusion of this research. The authors concluded that some important aspects were taken into consideration for the results. First, the input that the participant was receiving was meaningful and significant because she was not only getting it from their classes, but also she was attending extracurricular classes like the intensive class related to the IELTS preparation that allowed him to have a good performance and to be successful in the test. Apart from that, the environments in which she was involved were really accurate. For example, and she was having a lot of interaction with her classmates. Even though she didn't have good interaction with the family, she still had good interaction with friends and teachers and classmates as well. Lastly, the motivation that she had was really tremendous as she wanted to be part of a good job